All right. As you know by the music, the big man Joe is not here. When I do the show solo, I like to throw in some of the fake and the truth music. I just like to change it up a little bit. I know the long-time listeners love the old music. I think Joe and Eric years ago tried messing with the music, and they got swarmed with callers that demanded the music be switched back. So, well, this is a whole new age, whole new era. And so when myself and sometimes when Brian comes on, we put some of our stuff on just to let you know, hey, Joe's out. Joe's a little ill. He's don't worry, it's no COVID death sentence, crazy emergency. It's just a little crud. I think Joe's undertaken some changes in his diet and exercise. And I think sometimes when people do that, you have a little bit of that detoxing stuff going on. So pretty sure he'll be back tomorrow, but we'll see. So you got Jason. This is the Patriot Trading Group. We sell gold and silver. Myself and Brian, we came on in 2018 as Joe was taking on partners. And I've been doing this. In fact, my first show was March 19th, myself and Brian. That was the first time we were on there doing a show by ourselves. And so it's been 4 years of quite the adventure, but we do sell gold and silver. I'm a big proponent of putting what you have saved, all that hard-earned money that you slave away and work hard and try to improve your life. You put it somewhere. Now I know you can invest it somewhere. You can put it somewhere where you can grow it in an investment. But a lot of people, until that opportunity arises, you got to put it somewhere. You got to save it. And the Federal Reserve, which we're going to talk about central banking history a little bit today on this show, they like to steal it from you. They don't want you to have anything. They want it. They know what's best to do with all the assets of the world. They want to own everything and do what they want. And you just need less, and you don't need to have a pile of gold. You don't need that. You need just to work a job and be a part of society and bettering yourself and saving through an outlet like gold and silver. You don't do that. That's not in our system. Well, that's what we do. We Patriot Trading Group's been doing it for more than 2 decades. Moving towards 3 decades. We don't have a lot of complaints because if we make a mistake, we just fix it. If our customers make a mistake, we allow them to fix the mistake. And I can attest. I have some great customers, and I've made mistakes, and they've made mistakes. And it's just like a small business. A small business, you just talk to the customer and you fix things. So you call the number 800-951-0592. That number again is 800-951-0592. If you're a new listener, and we get new listeners every day, the radio station here in Colorado is growing, 1360khnc.com. If you're a new listener and you've been thinking about gold and silver, just call. The girls are over there. Of course, Joe is out today. Brittany, Connie, Arlene, whoever picks up the phone, they can answer some of your questions. And then you can always set up an appointment with myself or Joe. If you have questions, there's a lot of questions. People have to understand what this is. You're living in the 1800s. Everyone knew what this was, and it was the money. Gold and silver was the money. So people didn't really think twice about it. It was just like your quarters and your dimes and nickels and your coins and your paper money that we spend today. That just was the money. So then when the whole thing switched, and I'm going to get into this, I'm going to get into gold confiscation, some of the stuff that some of you older listeners know, but some of the new listeners need to hear this stuff time to time. Suddenly, gold was taken out of the money, and then later on, silver was taken out of the money, and people that understood world history, the people that understood that this is something that's happened before, they started grabbing gold and silver up as a savings to combat inflation. So we're going to talk about all of that, but we have a gold special. I'll cover that here in the next segment or two. What a great time to get gold. It's just, right now gold is up just a couple of bucks. Gold has kind of been sitting there slowly going up a buck here, a buck there. It raced right up to $1,900, and it's just, right now it's sitting about $1,911, up about $3. And the markets just continue to go kind of sliding slowly down the other way. Gold's slowly going up, and the markets are slowly going down. You got the Dow down about 100 points. You got the S&P down 0.5%, down 22 points. NASDAQ is down another 100 points. The NASDAQ really, it's in correction territory, really. The markets have been overvalued for a while. So Here in Colorado, just for the Colorado listeners, in Arizona, you got Joe loves to compare the Colorado and the Arizona weather. We're -3 degrees here in Colorado. Got another shot of snow. It was we're in the middle of 110 hours straight of below freezing temperatures. 32 degrees or below. Right now it's 9 o'clock in the morning here, 9:10 in the morning. 3 degrees below zero. I'm in the control room right now because with Joe being out, I was running all over the building trying to get everything ready for 3 hours of radio because it's imposing when you start doing radio. And I've never, until 4 years ago, I never did radio. And when you get the call from the other guy, oh man, I'm out. And he's like, okay, immediately I was, like today I was not ready. So I lean on Joe for content on the first hour for the most part. I try to bring some stuff for the second hour, but the half empty cup of Joe. But sometimes you gotta just improvise, which is what I do. And I got some good stuff to cover. We'll have a good show, but nothing like getting up and having to shovel snow and drive on I-25 right now. I'll tell you right now, if you're on I-25, it's one of those things when the snow comes down. I usually take county roads to get over to the radio station because those roads don't get plowed and then they get snow packed and it gets slippery. And so you take I-25 because they put the mag chloride chemical stuff down and they plow it regularly. It's been so cold, and I saw a five-car accident on the way in off I-25. It looks like the road's plowed. You can see the pavement, but there's this little sheet of ice that you can't see, man, and people are sliding all over the place. So if you're in Colorado driving on the I-25, be very careful. So hey, everybody, stay tuned. We're going to talk a little bit about my favorite topic. All right, welcome back. This is the Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm your solo host today, Jason. Joe is out today. He's a little under the weather, dealing with a little bit of crud. Don't worry, it's not serious. But I'm gonna do the gold special here. Now this is another great gold special. We do them regularly, and this is one of our normal bread and butter coins that we sell to our audience. And I'll tell you right now, it's been busy. The gold and silver side has been really busy the last week or two. A lot of people are starting to see how gold is just starting to push upwards, and it's not really relenting. And so it gets us a little busy. People are selling, people are buying. And let me stress this: if you're in a position where you need a little money coming your way, there's lots of reasons why you hold gold. And one of the reasons is something comes up. You got to pay this bill, you got to pay that bill. I mean, right now it's tax season; people have to pay their taxes. All these reasons why people need to sell a little gold. Call us over at the main office, 800-951-0592. We don't talk about buying gold and silver. A lot of guys come in and like, do you guys even buy gold and silver? And I noticed that here in Colorado. Absolutely. We can't get it to you unless we buy it. And part of what we do is buy from our customers. We buy from guys that call us to just walk off the street, things of that nature. So we absolutely buy. But we specialize in getting it into your hands, savings that'll protect your wealth. And I'll say this: we got a good gold special, and I'm going to cover these the collector coins we've been doing. We do have some of these coins available. So number one, first, let's go with the gold special. We have $20 liberties. You can't get enough of these. I remember when we first started doing the radio shows here in Colorado, and Eric was still around. He gave out that advice. He said, people were saying, well, how many ounces am I supposed to get? And it's really, to tell you the truth, how many ounces, how many dollars that equal ounces of gold? How much savings do you got? And how much can you save per week, per month, per year? How much are you putting into savings? Well, if it's savings, to me, savings is gold and silver. Investment is the stock market, companies, all kinds of other different things. But when it comes to savings, you got to put it in gold and silver. So Eric did say, one ounce per every year that you're alive. If you're 50 years old, try to have 50 ounces. If you're 75 years old, try to have 75 ounces. And of course, the average guy, some guys, they can't stack that much up, but that's the goal, right? And if you get to 50 ounces or you get to 75 ounces, that doesn't mean you're supposed to just stop right there. Joe later on added, hey, but obviously if you have a family, it's an ounce for every year alive, and maybe an ounce for every year you've been married. It's to have that cushion, because hey, when You're married, there's more responsibilities, there's kids involved, there's all that other stuff. But kind of as a short-term savings goal, that's a good measuring stick. So these $20 Liberties that we're selling today, these are the 1 ounce gold coin that they spent into circulation before 1933. There was gold confiscation, which I'll talk about later, and they took these out of our possession. And these are the surviving coins. These are, they have the dollar-denominated $20 gold coins. This is American gold that we specialize in, and this is one of those things that has a myriad of extra value to it. If you ever had to leave the country with the gold, there's all these things like there are certain countries in the world. If you left America and you have your gold with you, and you have a couple ounces of bullion, which I'll give you the comparison. You have a couple ounces of bullion, and you fly to some African country, let's say, or you go to some European country. You're flying to Ukraine. Some of these countries, they have some really tough rules. Like I'll tell you right now, if you flew to Turkey right now, there's a good chance they will confiscate your gold, bullion. One of the reasons you buy $20 Liberties is because it's dollar denominated. Because it's dollar denominated, you're talking legal tender. And when the country you're going to has basically any bullion that's in that country belongs to the government. You would be surprised how many governments have these rules. When you step foot in that country, it's like, well, these are $20 American money. This is $20. They don't confiscate foreign currency because, hey, they do want Americans to come to their country. They don't want to confiscate your currency. But some of these countries will actually confiscate your bullion. So there's one of the many reasons why we sell constitutional currency, dollar-denominated gold. And that's one of the reasons. There's a whole bunch of reasons why we specialize in this. So this is the coin that we sell regularly and often. Sometimes people that are listening to the shows, they get kind of bored because it's like, all right, another $20 Liberty. But every time you clink one of these into your savings, it doesn't sound boring when you add another coin to the stack. So with gold going up and the premiums have gone up. I mean, just before gold started moving, Joe had said that we were watching the premiums going up because the COMEX is getting a little low like they did a couple of years ago when gold hit its all-time high in August of 2020. The COMEX was getting low 3 or 4 months ahead of that, and the gold prices just surged. Well, we had premiums go up, and then gold, which was kind of languishing around $1,800, now it's $1,910 and continuing to move upwards. So we've adjusted the gold prices, and so when we have a special like the one we have today, it's a good one to get onto, especially if you've been holding on to a significant amount of money and you're like trying to figure out the best time to get in. Even with Joe not here, this might be the day. Joe is sick, and he still called me on this gold special, which I saw late yesterday that was offered to us. I had a feeling this was the one. As long as we were still available today, we were going to run with it. So we have $20 Liberties. You call the number 800-951-0592. We're selling these coins at $2,050. $2,150. $2,150. Oh, I just did the Joe mistake from last week, but I caught myself quick. $2,150. That 2050 would have been a month ago before everything started moving. So that was a month ago. But still, for this special today, $2,150, and you call 800-951-0592. Get yourself the coins at that price, 1 through 9. Joe really discounted these coins for volume for people that want to buy significant amounts. 10 through 19, you can get them for a $10 discount per coin, $2,140 per coin if you buy 10 to 19. And the best deal of the day, you got that money ready, you got that phone ready to dial. If you want to buy 20 or more, you're going to put a significant amount of money into gold today. It'll be $2,130 for 20 coins or more. And we don't have unlimited. You'll have to call to Arizona to see what the number is. I know that there was 100 as of yesterday. So I'm guessing there's not 100 available, but we have a good amount. You once again, call the number 800-951-0592, and getting a $20 Liberty today at $2,150 that's a great way to get started. If you haven't got started, if you just got started, this is a good way to add on. And if you've been doing this for years, and gold price is going up, gold price is going down, you've watched the markets, you've listened to the shows, you'll understand that this price point, particularly today with gold moving, I mean, if gold keeps moving up, it's just going to make these coins a better deal. So $20 Liberties, $2,150, 10 to 19, $2,140, and 20 or more is $2,130. Now these the Fake News Friday Pure Blood coins that we sold late last year, the 2021 coin, and then this year we have a Pure Blood Fake News Friday 2022 coin, limited to only 222 coins. I've been getting brisk amounts of people coming in. We do have some available. And when we sold these coins, I was very cautious. I did not want to oversell. I did not want someone to go home without a coin because we oversold it. So we've been kind of I would say very conservative when we sold these coins. We knew they were going to sell out fast if we heated it up and talked about them too much. So the Friday pickup was last week. Had a lot of good people showed up. People loving to get their coins. They were buying the Pure Blood T-shirts, the CBD, the Tehibo tea, and everything that we had available. It was a good night, and we sold a bunch of these coins. There are today still some available. I believe Christina got a shipment out yesterday. When she comes in, I'll double check with her. But we were going to ship these Fake News Friday Pure Blood coins 2021 and the Fake News Friday Pure Blood 2022 coins and the half-empty Cup of Joe coins. Those are still available. All three are actually still available because I held back on the Fake News Friday coins to make sure everybody got theirs. So all three coins are available here in Colorado. We're shipping some. They're either shipping this morning or they shipped yesterday. So hopefully Arizona will get theirs in a couple of days. And you guys can pick up your Fake News Friday Pure Bloods or your half-empty Cup of Joe coins. We did send the girls over there, the ladies in the Arizona office, a few extras because you guys have been asking for more. I'm going to keep on getting them out the door, what we have available. You just got to call the 2021 Fake News Friday coin is $75. The half-empty Cup of Joe coin is $75. The only one that's $85 is the limited run because those coins had to be. We hit the number of the coin. The 222 coins is hit on the coin, so you can see the actual numbered coin for that limited release on the coin. You buy that. Dan Carr had to charge us a little more for that because that's a one coin at a time process that he had to do. But once again, call 800-951-0592. These coins are available. If you're in Colorado and you have an invoice for coins, please pick those up because there's a lot of people coming in and saying to you, so every dollar counts. We want to get those coins in your hands, and that money is going to the radio station to help support 1360 KHNC. So don't delay on your pickups on your coins. Please come in and get them so we can add that to the KHNC, I guess, war chest, if you depending on how you want to look at it, the fight for freedom here at 1360. So there you go. There's your gold special. And there's not a lot of the 2021 coins or the 2022 Fake News Friday coins. There's not a lot available. I just wanted to let people know that there are a small amount of those still here. So give us a call. If you're in Colorado, you know how to get a hold of us here, 970-587-5003. There's nobody answering the phones until 10 o'clock, so don't call till 10 o'clock or after. But there you go. There's your coins. There's and this is what fuels the radio station. It's what helps Patriot Trading Group. This is what we do. We get you in gold and silver, and then the collector coins is one of the first really strong ideas we had for helping do some fundraising for the radio station. Half the cost of those coins is just in the making of the coins. It's not cheap having someone mint you some silver 1 ounce coins. All these coins, by the way, have been struck over silver eagles. So keep that in mind. These are some of the best silver coins that are made in the world. We overstruck silver eagles, which a lot of companies don't do that, but we did. We decided to do that. So keep all of that in mind. Half the cost of the coins actually is in the actual purchasing the coins, and then the rest of the cost on these coins all goes to KH&C to support some of these repairs and things that we're still in the middle of trying to get a lot of things fixed here at the radio station. And I'll say this, Joe's done a great job when he bought this radio station to fix things and make things work better. I can't tell you how many people have come in and said, man, I've been listening for years. The signal is so strong. I can hear you in places I never heard you before. And I'll just say this, I know for a fact that as we get these repairs done that you're buying these silver coins for, when we get these repairs done, you're going to hear an even stronger, better signal when we're all finished. It's going to take some time. We're getting it done, but this is one of the things you can do. You know, people are like, well, what can I do? What can I do to make things better? How can I help out? Buy some gold. Buy some of these pure blood coins. Buy the half-empty cup of Joe coin, which, man, that is such a cool coin, I'm telling you guys. So when we get back, I am going to talk a little bit about my favorite subject, central banking. I could give you a little history. It goes back a long ways. Man, those guys are thieves. All right, Patriot Trading News Hour. I'm your solo host today, Jason. Joe is out for the day. He's a little under the weather, and so stay tuned. We'll have the half-empty cup of Joe coming next hour. I think Chris Lewis has been with us a couple of times. He does a little bit of history, too, so I'm hoping I'm going to do a little history here right now, and maybe Chris is going to come in and add a little bit to this in the next couple of hours. But one of the reasons I ended up here at Patriot Trading Group and selling gold and silver is I started like any guy. I had a wife, and then I had a new baby, and you're trying to make ends meet, and you're finding ways to make all those dollars count. And one thing I knew, and I didn't realize how deep the whole thing was, like anybody, until you learn the subject, you don't really know how deep this thing goes. I learned early on that, I don't mind banks making their money by loaning me money so I could buy a house. Banks, and I'm not talking your local bank or any independent bank. Banks are just like any other business. It provides a service and they get paid for it. And when you get a mortgage, you get loaned money to buy a house, they get interest. Unfortunately, all ancient religions used to have rules against usury. You are not to enrich yourself on the back of your brother. But central bankers have, through all of their schemes, have gotten into the churches and gotten them to change all of their little rules about what God wanted. In fact, since the age of Jesus, there's always been a battle between the money changers and the population, the productive and abundant humanity. Jesus, you just read your Bible, and he got mad one time. One time he got really mad in the Bible, and as he cleared the temple of the money changers, flipping over the tables and hitting them with a whip of cords, he said, "My temple will be a house of prayer. You have turned it into a den of thieves." Jesus was very unhappy that the poorest of the poor were being taxed at his temple of prayer. Jesus knew that central banking was bad. As time went on, and especially, let's just say from about the 1600s up to current day, the Rothschilds being the prime example, but there's plenty of examples if you look around world history, started central banking. They learned very quickly that we got this great business. We loan money out, and they give us more money to pay back the loan. And the more people that borrow money from us, the more money we bring in interest. It was a great business. And even though they probably charged interest rates that were too high and they got a little greedy, there was this sticky little problem. Well, once in a while, the economy gets kind of bad, and people lose jobs, and they just can't pay, and they go bankrupt. And we have no way to collect. We could throw them in debtor's prison. They used to have these things, debtor's prisons. But that doesn't get their money paid back, and that hurts their business model. Oh my gosh, a banking business that has to deal with risk, and loss. When you loan the money out, you're risking that the money doesn't get paid back for a myriad of reasons. What if you can't prevent the guy from dying and he can't pay back his loan? So that is why a banker charges interest. They're providing a service and they get paid for that service, and it's an honest business. Central banking is not an honest business. The Rothschilds figured out, the the best loans that we can make money on are getting the government. And what if we borrow money to the government? Those loans always get paid back. The government doesn't die. I mean, the government can die, but the government doesn't die. And if they're not making enough money to pay back our loans, they can tax the citizens to pay us our amount. Once we get our favorite types of people that we control running the government, then we can really push the government to borrow and borrow and borrow at higher interest rates and at levels that are unsustainable. And we will control the government. We will then be able to buy assets at the cheapest possible amounts during times of crisis that we will cause. And we'll get everything. We'll own everything. We can have everything will be ours, and they'll use this. We'll actually start creating the money. Our central bank makes the money for the society, and this is why we buy and sell gold coins and gold bullion. Gold and silver used to be the money, and when gold and silver is the money, there's not a huge market for bullion. There's still governments have huge amounts of business they do with each other. So, gold bullion has been one way to back up trades and sales of goods and services. But as an average guy, listen to the radio show here, gold and silver used to be the money, so you didn't need to buy gold and silver. Your savings was the actual money. And a lot of people, they see their digits in the bank, and they're thinking, well, look at all that money. I have $1 million I've saved up after 50 years of working. I have saved $1 million in digits. See, there it is. But it doesn't work like that. It used to work like that. You get $20 gold pieces, however many $20 gold pieces it takes to equal $1 million. You would have an actual savings of $1 million, because the way it is now, the central bank in this country was established in 1913. And ever since then, inflation has been the rule. There's no exception. The rule is inflation, which causes governments to borrow more money. It makes people have to be taxed more, and it creates a system of serfs and lords. And unless you're a lord, you're not one of those guys in Washington D.C. If you're not a Bill Gates that capitalized on the system enough to where you've built a huge amount of money. You're a serf. You're a slave to a debt money system. So the Rothschilds, they figured this out. They figured out that, hey, we can manipulate governments in entire countries by simply having governments loan us the money. And they really achieved their ultimate power around the time of the Napoleonic Wars, the Battle of Waterloo. During the Battle of Waterloo, the Rothschilds had the fastest horses in the world. And when Napoleon lost that battle and the English won the war, the horses of the Rothschilds ran back to England to the stock market, gave them the news. And anyone who's watched the movie Trading Places, that's how the Dukes, they're crooked in getting the information ahead of everyone so they can place bets and make more money. Well, that's what the Rothschilds did. They walked around the stock market in England, hung their heads down with depression. Oh, hey, the Rothschilds just found out that Napoleon won, and they're coming straight for us. And then Napoleon's coming straight for England. It's coming straight for all the rest of the countries of Europe. People panicked. Kind of like, Russia, Ukraine, or whatever war that they bubble on the news. People panicked. They sold their stock. And then the news came of the big win. The big battle was won by the good guys. The English won the battle, and Napoleon has been defeated. And the Rothschilds, it was too late. They bought up all of the depressed, cheap stocks, the crashing of the stock market. This is the time where the Rothschilds had basically bought the country of England. The monarchy really held no power because the Rothschilds owned it all. And I'll move on. We'll do a little more of this history when we get back from the break. Remember, we got a gold special, 800-951-0592. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. This is the Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm your solo host, Jason, and stick around after the show. I think Chris Lewis is going to be coming on. I'll take it back. There are lots of things going sideways on me this morning. I don't have verification that Chris is coming in, but he is invited to come on with me. And if so, well, I'm sure we'll have a good show on the Half Empty Cup of Joe coming next hour. But doing a little banker history, I got to the Rothschilds. It is interesting with these central banks. how there is a world reserve currency, and about every 100 years it changes to another country. Spain, Portugal, England, United States. It changes every once in a while, and we're heading for this thing they call the Great Reset. And I don't think it'll be long before the world reserve currency becomes an IMF digital coin or a Fed coin, or it becomes China and the yuan. But these Ponzi schemes run out of fuel, and they have to just change the idea. And they shuffle the cards, and they've had the central banking cartel, which is all the central banks of the world. The Russian central bank, the Chinese central bank, the Bank of Japan, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the Federal Reserve, all of these central banks, it's a cartel. These are private entities, and the shares of stock that own these companies are owned essentially by the same guys. You think, well, a Bank of China, well, when they have a central bank meeting, it's a bunch of Chinese guys, and that's what you'll see. Just like you see Jerome Powell, he'll have a meeting with all the other Fed chairs, and they discuss policy and what they're going to do. Those guys don't own the Federal Reserve. Those guys are figureheads. They're not the J.P. Morgans of the world. They're not the Rockefellers. They're not the Rothschilds. So if you ever, we don't do a lot of Chinese central bank news here, but we do some of it. But when those guys meet and do their central bank policies, it's somebody way above. I'm sure there's Chinese guys that own part of their central bank, but it's essentially the same guys that own the Fed. So here's a quote. I'm going to do a quote from Baron Rothschild, and I'm going to get into where America ended up with this, with these central banks, because the reason America is such a historically significant country, why we're so powerful for so long, has been because we got away from the bankers. If a blood-sucking leech is sucking your blood, man, you're feeling a little tired every day, and you get rid of the blood-sucking leech, start using all of your own blood for your own purposes, you start to feel better, you have more energy, you have more assets to go out and do what you need to. It's when someone's sucking your blood out of you, someone's taking the money out of your pocket, it makes it harder for you to actually exist and have what they call the American dream, to move ahead, to enrich yourself and build your family fortune. Baron Rothschild, 1863, quote, "The few who understand the system will either be so interested in its profits or so dependent upon its favors that there will be no opposition from that class." Basically he's saying anybody that understands this is either going to try to enrich themselves with the system, or they're going to be dependent upon freebies being given out. And you can look at government. They bought both sides of the aisle. The Republicans and the Democrats are all bought by these bankers. Those are people that are dependent upon those favors. Hey, for me to get reelected, I'm Joe Biden, I'm going to go for reelection in 2024. Well, through a myriad of hidden ways, you have to connect the dots. It's the bankers that buy these candidates. And they don't, if you think we've had a candidate that's against the banking system, in the last 100 years, we almost have no candidates that are against the banking system. And John F. Kennedy, he really didn't have an opinion on it. I don't think he really understood it until he got to the office of presidency. And he, after being elected, went against the banking system. And look what happens to him. Bang, bang, you're dead. If you're gonna try to make a interest-free money against our central banked debt-free or debtful money. So let's go to the Rothschilds. I had just on the last segment talked about, they basically owned England after the Battle of Waterloo. They owned the country, and through that central bank they empowered their others. Because the Rothschilds, there was Baron Rothschild, then he had one son, and then that son had 5 sons, and they sent those sons all over Europe to establish central banks all over the world. And then of course you had this thing, the New World. That was actually kind of against their system. They were just starting to dominate all of England, all of Europe with their central banks. And then suddenly Christopher Columbus finds, the New World, and Americans, what they came to be Americans. People started going there to be free and get away from this mess. So the Bank of England did what they always do. They wanted to suck all the assets out of these colonies. Every colony across the world that England had, it wasn't bad that they were putting colonies in places. It was bad that the banks were taking whatever these colonies were producing off of their blood and sweat, and they were bringing it to a banker that was doing nothing for it. And so in America, we got sick of this. We just got sick of this. We're like, hey, banker. Anybody that thinks it was a war against King George III and it was for freedom against tyranny and taxes, we pay more in taxes today as a percentage, way higher than the colonists did. The colonists wanted freedom from the banking system. They wanted to have no central bank basically taking everything they were producing through taxation. That is why we left. We left England. We had a war, and it's interesting the amount of power that the bankers had, because we say that we won the war for independence. I kind of disagree with that. We didn't win the war for independence. We did not win the War of 1812. All the bankers want is a system in place that they can share in getting things given to them for free. So if we puff up our chest and we want to get away from England, that's all well and good. But at the end of the war for independence, we had a whole lot of debt, especially to France. And the central banks already had a central bank in France. Didn't matter that the French had the revolution. The bankers ran that country before the revolution and after. So with these war loans, and we went through the process of creating the Constitution, we immediately had a central bank. 1791, here's the first bank of the United States. And I've said this on the air a few times for you guys that have been listening to me for a couple of years. If you ever wonder why, did you ever ask questions? Why was it the War of 1812? Why wasn't it the War of 1810 or the War of 1822 or something like that? Well, it was the War of 1812 because our Congress, by one vote, got rid of the first charter on the first central bank. And the Bank of England said, you better recharter this bank or there'll be war. That's why the English sent troops over and started a war in 1812. We got away from their banking system. When we get back, I'll talk a little bit more on that. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. Final segment, the Patriot Radio News Hour. We're heading into the half-empty cup of Joe. Call the number for gold and silver, 800-951-0592. I can't give you an update if there's people on the phones or not. The gold special is a really good one today. We started, I think, the day somewhere around $120 Liberties. You can get these today at $2,150. I highly, highly recommend that if you got some money for gold today, this is a great one to get on top of. $2,150 for $20 gold pieces. If you want 10 to 19, we're dropping $10 a coin. That means you save $100 right off the top just by buying 10 of them. That'll be $2,140. $2,150 for 1 through 9. $2,140, 10 through 19. $2,130 for 20 or more. Call 800-951-0592. And my mind's been I'm trying to do three things at once. So if I ever said $2,050, no, it's $2,150 per coin. I'm a little scattered around trying to do too many things all at once. But give us a call and jump on those coins right now over at the office there in Arizona. So I'm going to finish this up. Got a couple of minutes here. Talking about how America was enslaved to these banks almost the entire time. The War of 1812, well, that happened because we got rid of the central bank. We tried to get rid of them with the War for Revolution. Well, we said we won that war, but why did England? I mean, England could have. They had other colonies. They were spread out. The reason they had trouble winning that war against us was because they just didn't want to commit all their assets to that. Plus, once we put a central bank up, it's like, oh, great, we're going to get a piece of that colony. They've got a central bank. Well, when we got rid of the central bank in 1811 by one vote in Congress, here comes the English, here comes the war. We all hear the stories. Well, we won the War of 1812. Well, did we? We lost most of the battles. There was a little bit of a stalemate that kind of went on. Why did the British leave? Well, we were in debt. The war ended in 1815, and a new central bank, the second bank of the United States, starts in 1816. That's why the British left. We got another central bank, and this goes on and on through history. I could go more. I was going to do a little more on this, but I'm running out of time. Here's just a couple of quotes from different guys throughout history. It was Andrew Jackson, the only president to pay off the national debt. He did it after he got rid of the second bank of the United States, the one that was chartered in 1816. He came into office and got rid of it. In fact, so much pressure was put onto him for his re-election in 1832 that the Congress and the House, there was enough banker-backed candidates to pass a recharter early, and Andrew Jackson on the 4th of July just vetoed that thing and got rid of it. Quote from him, and this is around the time of his re-election and around his veto message. Gentlemen, I too have been a close observer of the doings of the Bank of the United States. I have had men watching you for a long time, and I am convinced that you have used the funds of the bank to speculate in the breadstuffs of the country. When you won, you divided the profits amongst you. When you lost, you charged it to the bank. You tell me that if I take the deposits from the bank and annul its charter, I shall ruin 10,000 families. That may be true, gentlemen, but that is your sin. Should I let you go on, you will ruin 50,000 families, and that would be my sin. You are a den of thieves and vipers, and I am determined to rout you out, and by the eternal God, I will rout you out. So we've had guys in history that fought against this stuff. Your little way of doing it, you don't need to hold Federal Reserve notes. Not in the bank, not in your homes. You just need to call 800-951-0592. Gold and silver, that is your way to isolate yourself from these thieves that are the central bankers of the world.